And our main event, John Cena, Cody Rhodes street fight for the undisputed WWE Championship. And we got Cody's custom entrance featuring old clips of Dusty Rhodes, including from his famous The View Never Changes promo from, God, 31 years ago. Very famous promo he did with Dustin. And it's Cody and the return of the skull mask as he comes up the elevator. But then John Cena makes his entrance. You have never heard a crowd pop louder for the return of graphics on a man's entrance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it started off with just the black, white text on black, and then once the MOP sample hits, the whole thing lights up. He comes out talking to Stu, does the run up. So, I mean, the whole time you're still thinking, is this genuine? Is this real? Or is he simply playing all of this up?
No, I mean, we can talk about this at the end of the match, but I mean, if you were thinking SmackDown was just like the Austin fake turn going into the Invasion pay-per-view, no, that was the turn. He is a babyface, and he's going to be a babyface from now through the end. And I think it really does just put this whole heel run kind of to bed at this point. And I have to say that I think it is without any argument that this heel turn had an incredible one night when it was executed. And from there, I don't think it ever came anywhere near the proximity of that night in Toronto. And I'm sorry, like, just if we're just talking basic storytelling, if you were to tell me, well, he's going to have this, 5-month run as a heel, and then he will turn in the middle of the summer, and he's just going to turn in a promo on SmackDown. That's it. I'm sorry. That was a very, very anticlimactic turn for, like, you could argue your biggest story of the entire year. And you just snapped your fingers. He's back to a babyface. Not that people disagree. It's the right move to make, but like the storytelling, I'm sorry, leaves a ton to be desired.
Yeah, and I wonder if we'll ever get the true story, or at least an admission from Levesque that they did pivot, or maybe this was all part of the show.
Everything's part of the show, way. So the match begins, and Cole says, I spoke to John in the afternoon. It seems like the Cena of old. That's it. That was our turn, everyone. He's back. I talked to him. He's good. So they hug at the beginning of the match, and then they go into strikes.
I felt the hug was significant because the hugs have been seen as heel turn method, right? Like
Cody was being baited here, but he went in for the hug.
But this was just a normal hug, and he whispered something, I'm sure, to the effect of like, "Hey, let's have a really fair fight." And then that's why they broke off into.
Yeah, they needed the Dwayne hologram in the corner of the ring for the hug.
Yeah,
the throat slash. So Cena walks up to Tyrese Halliburton and steals the man's crutch to use as a weapon. Crowd was totally into Cena here, and like Cody was not only the heel in this match, like he worked as the heel for a lot of the match, but I mean, it was ultimately with like the story that, he was too tentative at WrestleMania. He was not going to make that mistake this time. And so, I mean, early on, I will say this, the first half of this match, dude, I just felt like John Cena was the John Cena I've been watching all year, but they got to a point where they just got into the John Cena, we're going to do a million finishers, and I don't care how many finishers you do. If it works, it works. And this crowd, they just got up and up and up and up. And it was the combination of the Cena, like, working as a babyface and these guys kicking out of everything under the sun that, like, the audience took this as just a significant deal. But some of the highlights...
I thought Cena looked great all match.
I would not say that about the first half of here. Like it felt to me like Cody was just had to like slow down. I don't know.
Cody had to slow down.
I felt so. I just felt like this. I thought the first half of this match was not a huge difference from the Mania match.
But it was just if it was slower, is because the layout of the match dictated it.
Well,
or maybe they were pacing themselves.
That could definitely have been the case because I did not go into this match assuming we were getting 40 minutes of these two. So, it picks up as they end up. First Cody ends up hitting a pile driver and gets a huge reaction with Wade noting that technically that's a banned move in WWE. but this is a street fight, so rules are out the window. And we get an early AA from Cena. Cody would he would hit a crossroads fairly early as well, and then they go to the floor, and Cena hits a code red, and it's like this look on his face, like he's shocked that he managed to hit this. And the crowd is stunned at this.
So he's hit this move before, like I think maybe first during that US title run, that where he was like trying to do new moves every single match. And we haven't seen this during the entire heel run. So this was yet another indication that I guess the Cena of old was coming back.
Yes, the Cena of 10 years ago. And he does an AA off one desk, putting Cody through the other. And then he gets caught with a crossroads inside of the ring, and then Cena climbs up to the top. And this dude, at 48, with all of these rolls out there for the taking, he decides, tonight I'm doing my guillotine leg drop. And this dude just comes off the top. And I was like, oh my God. Like, this guy's going all in for this match to do this goddamn leg drop. He brings out a table, but they fight into the crowd, and they just go all over the place here. Cena gets suplexed on a guardrail, and then they disappear underneath the stage. And in what I can only imagine is going to be Wei Ting's visual of 2025, comes up in smoke, up the elevator with Cody on his shoulders. And I was ready for the next installment of the Terminator franchise starring John Cena.
It was incredibly, like, corny, and
it's kind of the John Cena brand.
It's exactly what babyface John Cena is: corny and almost like embracing it. And this crowd wanted exactly corny babyface John Cena.
It is what they wanted. And so he walks forward, and I'm like, okay, he's just gonna dump him with the AA, which he does, but then lifts Cody back on his shoulders, and this guy just proceeds to walk down this pretty long ramp with Cody on his shoulders. Mind you, we are at this point probably 30 minutes into this match. I can only imagine that Cena has gone, he went about 30 with Orton and Punk, but this was the most I think that he had exuded in a match, just in terms of...
Because he's working as a babyface.
He did. He had to do a ton more as a babyface in this match. A very good point. So he gets Cody all the way to the ring. And from there, the crowd is just applauding the achievement of him carrying Cody to the ring. And Cody gets up and just all of a sudden launches Cena into the table, hits the crossroads. Cena kicks out. So what does Cody do? He unscrews the bottom rope and starts beating Cena with the buckle. And he is being heavily booed for this. And I swear to God, Cody looks down at the buckle, so conflicted way, and I was just at my wit's end. Like, honestly, if this is the biggest program of the summer for them. If we're gonna do this crisis of conscience, Cody gets the spot. We don't need 3 of them in 2 nights, but I digress. So Cody then, as he is conflicted here, walks right into an STF, and Cena uses the ring rope to choke him. Could have lost his job if this was 2010 doing this. But Cody reverses, they get to their feet, and Cody proceeds to hit 3 consecutive crossroads. Cena manages to kick out. And at this point, dude, they could do no wrong, okay? They had this crowd eating out of the palm of their hand. The crowd literally starts chanting, Super Cena. Cody then grabs the championship belt, which was the source of his conflict at WrestleMania, but Cena ducks the belt shot. He hits back-to-back AAs, removes the belt from the ring. So now he is not willing to use the title belt and hits a super AA off the turnbuckle. Cody kicks out. Super Cody is alive. And Cody manages to prevent a follow-up super AA where the table is set up and he hits a cutter through the table, gives John Cena a match-ending salute as he hits one final crossroads. And I'm sorry, I love you. And he pins Cena in 37 minutes and 43 seconds. G1 Climax season continues on the Post Wrestling Cafe as we march toward the final on August 17th. Every single match in the tournament will be covered. Plus, we're going back to 2001 for a review of the King of the Ring, featuring Kurt Angle taking on Shane McMahon and Edge winning the tournament. Plus, John and Wai are going to be reviewing all episodes of the WWE Unreal series on Netflix. Ask Away, Post Pro Res, Collision Course, so much more can be found monthly at postwrestlingcafe.com. This was to me the ultimate WWE main event that I feel coming out of it. They are going to mark it as the classic of all classics. It was not my favorite match on the show. And I will say halfway through this match, I was pretty negative on it. It did win me over by the end of this because these last 10 minutes, I thought like they had this crowd, and ultimately this totally worked. And this was the match to do every kick out imaginable. It was the freshness of Cena, who has not worked as a babyface since March. And this was a major improvement from the Mania debacle.
I thought this was a modern day Rock versus Hogan. And I think that's what they were going for. I thought this match was incredible. And to me, Rock Hogan makes probably a lot of sense because we've had Cody say that that's been his favorite match. And we saw Cody play The Rock in this scenario. And it's a very difficult scenario to play because you have to maintain your babyface appeal while fulfilling the crowd's direction for you to be the heel in this entire match. And I thought Cody navigated that perfectly. It's almost as if he's dreamt of being in this position and he knew exactly what to do. I think they probably suspected, even without the moment on Friday, that the crowd reaction to this match would have been a pro Cena one. And I think, the reason for that is because Cody isn't exactly on fire as a babyface. I mean, the crowd doesn't exactly hate him, but I sense people growing tired of him still, and he hasn't changed enough since WrestleMania to overcome that. Meanwhile, Cena as a heel, say what you want about it, like he still appears as a superstar. There's still a ton of nostalgic appeal to him, and these crowds, I think, were likely already to cheer him over Cody. But doing the segment on Friday, while totally abrupt, just sort of tips the scales that much further to ensure this sort of pro Cena reaction that the crowd gave tonight ahead of a match like this that they planned. And I think, for all the criticism of like the Cena work rate ability, I feel like we have our answer from this. He was probably hampered by having to work a heel wrestling style, or what he thought, was demanded of a heel wrestling style. Yeah, I'm sure there are some limitations as well, due to age, as he's admitted to himself. But I think so much of it is down to having a more limited palate, maybe the desire to want to work slower, and none of that was in play tonight because he was able to basically do a greatest hits John Cena match. And I never realized how much I missed that until this particular moment. You see the result of a match like this, and you don't even care about how janky the story was leading up to get to this point. You're just grateful to be watching it in the moment, just as you were Rock versus Hogan, because the lead up to that match had nothing to do whatsoever with how that match eventually turned out.
Dude, The Rock overcame being run into a semi truck while he was being taken off in an ambulance. That was an amazing return in less than a month. Okay, that was a human interest story.
Okay, and yet he was booed by the audience, and Hogan was celebrated as a babyface leading into it. It doesn't matter. Like that, everything leading up to the match is almost forgotten about because all you remember is the match itself. And I thought that was the case tonight. As the match progressed, I found myself having such a great time watching it, really wanting it not to end. And at 41 years old, having watched as much wrestling as I have, I don't really feel that sort of thing that much anymore. I love this match. And again, as corny as a Cena babyface performance can be, I will miss it. And when you present the fact that I'm unlikely to see much more of this, and I haven't seen it in such a long time, be as corny as possible because I will cherish every second of it.
Well, if we look at like the pay-per-view calendar and the retirement match in December, we're probably looking at like 4, maybe max 5 matches. And I will say, after this guy does these 5 matches, I'm very happy that this guy is retiring. And I think he can go off and, I think he has to like peak himself for these matches. Like a match with Brock is going to be very demanding. And especially for a guy that is just as old as him, that has not to our knowledge, bumped in 2 years either. That's clearly where things are going. But before we get to that, Cena hands over the belt to Cody Rhodes, endorses the new champion. And this was as much of a full passing of the guard moment as you are going to do. And Cena whispers in his ear. Cody is nearly in tears, raises Cena's arm, and then it's Cody leaving the ring alone to Cena as the crowd chants, "Thank you, Cena." And Cena just leaves there saying that my time is up, and he bows to the crowd, and Cody has disappeared, and Brock Lesnar's music plays, and out walks Brock. You would think that Cena's newfound best friend Cody might be concerned for his ally here. I guess Cody just was rushed off to do media, and Brock takes his time out in his cowboy hat. Michael Cole screams, "Holy shit! We said we'd never use that guy again." And he enters the ring, and boom, it's just playing the greatest hits. We go right back to 2012, and he lays out Cena with the F5. And I think it is worth asking, like, when this was finalized with Brock and how much that affected, like, doing this abrupt turn for Cena to be in this position to do the babyface heel dynamic here with Brock at the end of SummerSlam, and presuming that this would be, what would you say, like the show in France? As Cena's next match? He is advertised for that. Like this is the only person that makes sense for that.
Sure. Yeah. Are they doing any more Saudi shows between now and then?
No. The next Saudi show is not till the Rumble.
Yeah. It could be that. Could be Survivor Series, but yeah, I think France, very possible.
I think you kind of have to go to this pretty soon. So, yeah, that's how the show ended, and I mean that will be the story about Brock Lesnar and WWE's decision that after all this time, they felt now it was safe to use Brock. And if this gets any kind of attention, I'm not necessarily thinking this is going to grab too much interest mainstream wise.
Well, I think that is an interesting question. You don't think that mainstream press will pick any of this up?
I'm not. There might be some. I don't see it being that big a story, and that's kind of why I, at certain points, thought that they would ultimately bring back Brock, because I didn't think that the backlash was going to be as big as maybe they thought it would be, but they had their reasoning for it. And I'm just curious if, like, a Paul Levesque is ever going to be in a position to be asked of it. I mean, the allegations did come up this week with Paul Levesque in some of the interviews, but I mean, just the combination of this deal and eliminating the press conferences, I mean, they really did protect themselves from having any kind of need to answer for this, and putting Paul Levesque in that situation. So I mean, I can't look at that and not think.
I wonder if a John Cena will be asked.
You mean out in, like, just public?
Doing media for other things.
He's doing so much, like, just mainstream media stuff. Like, I just don't see.
Yeah, who's going to ask him, I guess. You know?
I don't think is going to come up, but
And what's he going to say?
Putting aside the baggage, to say the least, that a Brock Lesnar comes with, what do you want to get out of Brock at this stage of his career? He is going to be in a big position for as many dates as he's doing. The guy's 48. Like, is this just get this Cena match out? Like what more is there in the Brock catalog to get out of at this point? Like, where is the value you see in Brock?
I'm sure they'd want to pair him with anybody, any of their top baby faces. You know, Roman match is big, a Punk match is big. You name it. That they probably want to get as much as the audience is willing to accept.
There is a short term, I guess, to utilizing Brock. I just see him, like, he is not your future either. And I mean,
of course not. He never was.
So these one-offs they're fine.
Well, I mean, it's just to give themselves a main event, right? And to give themselves a WrestleMania attraction.
Well,
Rumble attraction.
It is, but I mean, it's a spot that is not being fulfilled by somebody else either. Like,
you'll get a Braun Breaker match.
Like, you can't elevate a Braun Breaker and a Jacob Fatu and all these others and and then also like give a big main event spot to a Brock. Like there are others that just you will have to wait your turn because this guy's working with Punk this month, or this guy's working with Cena this month, or this guy's working with Roman this month. And it's they made the calculus. Like they decided like this is what we need right now. And obviously it's going to be Cena, Lesnar out of the gate whenever they get to this match. So there you go. That was SummerSlam. Did you enjoy night 2 over night 1?
I feel like up until the main event, I
think this main event is going to take you into the year-end awards. It sounds like.
I thought it was one of the best matches of the year. Yeah, I really truly feel like it's for me like a modern Rock Hogan, just in terms of dynamic and in terms of the way it played out. And I think that's a very different viewpoint you and I might have. But I
wasn't that down on it as like I certainly wasn't as high as you on it. But I would say, at 37 minutes, that's a big chunk of time. But I mean, you cannot deny like where you want that match to like look at it this way. Becky and Lyra, I was loving that match, and like the last like 7 minutes really brought it down for me. And with Cody and Cena, it was the first half of the match that I was struggling to really get into, but they nailed like the last 15, and you're leaving things on a much higher note because
I like the whole match. I thought the appeal of
there you go. I might be in the minority. So
I thought the appeal of seeing Cena play as play the old babyface role, and again like that sort of background tension of whether or not he's actually doing this for real or not. I thought also maybe played a bit of a role, but to me there was just like an element of I think well, first of all, action and improved work rate from him playing that babyface role, but also I think a certain level of nostalgia that was also evident from maybe like the Hogan Rock match as well, that I thought really helped it out.